axles. So that's basically the whole quad. So you got the props on, the camera, the bottom bit, got the electrical tape, liquid electrical tape, landing legs, the battery is all secure, receiver all secure, so it's not being cut. So these are the basic quadcopter physical setup that you need to do to make sure that it flies well. And the props are really easily bent, so just be careful when you screwing the prop nuts on. Make sure that you don't bend it. And if you look at the quad, if I hold this in the middle, because the battery is not big enough, it's not long enough, it seems to be back heavy. So when you fly this will be a bit unbalanced to the back. So, but I don't think it's very fatal to the overall balance of the quad. I have bigger batteries, so next time I use bigger batteries. But for this setup, I use a smaller battery. So it looks really good, and I hope it flies well. And I'm not sure how well the frame is going to hold up to crashes, and I hope I don't crash that much. I don't know about the electronics, whether they last long or not, but overall it looks nice. D4 -2 ppm receiver, Frsky, for the Wizard X220. So in order to bind this ppm, you need to short these two pins, 3 and 4, and with a supply plug. So you just plug it in. So this is not in ppm mode. So what you need next to do is to connect this to the connector on the quad to supply power. So let me zoom this in. So the white wire is a signal. So you see this, you need to plug it into the first channel, which is the top one, and the signal wire is where the number 1 is. So I just plug it in this way. Just put this a bit closer. Okay, the next thing to do is to set up a model. So I'm using my, I just press enter, copy, move it down, and that's it. So I go down, enter, select model. Okay, so I go page, I rename this to Wizard. So I go down, go up to DA mode. Before I press enter, I need to start this up first. So what you do is you press the button and while you connect the power. So you just do that first. Press the buy button. connect. So you can see the two lights there. So now I just press enter on my so I think it's bound. So I just need to exit, disconnect. So you can see the green light here. Just zoom in. The green light. That means it's bound. Let me just zoom out. Exit. So you can see the telemetry here. So which means that it's bound. So if I disconnect this, it will set telemetry loss.
RSSI critical. Telemetry lost.
So which means that it's connected. So that's how easy it is to connect the to bind the D4R2 to your Frsky Tyrannis. Hi guys, now that I bound the receiver, the next thing is to set up the Wizard X220. This quad is pretty easy to set up because by itself it's a well-made and balanced quadcopter. So with a PNP, which is plug and play quadcopter, you need a receiver, a battery, your transmitter, and that's it. And in order to set this up, you also need to supply props, the wrench, and the prop nuts. And of course, the final settings is you connect to the PC, to Beta Flight, and then you set up all the switches and make sure that your receiver can talk to your flight control board by doing the configuration, and that's basically it. So what I want to do here is I don't want to open up the quad, so it came with this receiver cable already installed for PPA. So I have now bound this. So what I intend to do is I found a space on the side of the carbon plate here, and I want to tap this receiver onto the carbon plate and then run the antenna through the side here with zip ties and heat shrink. So that's basically it. So the rest of the video here, I'm going to do the physical setup. You have to do this because if you don't set up your antenna properly, you will get cut by the props and it may only last you 5 seconds in the air. So make sure that you always need to set this up, the antenna properly. And like I mentioned earlier, this is already a very well made quad. You don't have to do anything else with the rest of the quad. All you need to do is just make sure that you set up the receiver properly, connect to Beta Flight, set up Beta Flight, put on the props, and that's it, and you're good to go. So I run the I put the wire back into this hole and then run it to the back here, and I'm going to plug the receiver back in. The white wire is for the signal wire, so you plug in this way. So I'm going to do off-camera check of whether this is the correct way before I actually stick this on to the quad. So I've checked the connection. so it's fine. What I did was correct. So the next thing that I need to do is I've run the wire through this hole here. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to slip this into here, into the corner, and stuck it to the corner, and then I'm going to run the antenna out here. So I'll come back after I've done it. So as you can see now, I've stuck the receiver on the side plate here, and I still have access to the bind button here, just in case I need it. And also the connector, I can still see up here, just in case I need to make some adjustment. So you can see that the antenna are now right at the back. So I need to somehow run the antenna up, like on the top, so that they don't get cut. So I'm going to think of how I want to run it, and I'll show it to you. So this is how I run my antenna. So I put on the props just to see where I can put the antenna. So since I put the props here, when I was swinging it, I couldn't put it on somewhere here because it's going to get cut. So instead I run it to the two holes on the top here, one here, one on the other side, and I also put the zip tie through it. And then after that I'm going to put heat shrink over the antenna, and I'm going to make sure that the lengths are of the same length, and just push some of the antenna back through the hole, and then put the heat shrink on top. Let me just show you. And then put the heat shrink on top like that, and then cut the excess off. If you don't want to cut the excess off, that's fine. So it's going to look like that. So I'm going to go and cut the heat shrink to length and show you. So I've cut the heat shrink. So I put the heat shrink over the antenna and the zip tie. Just slip it over like that, all the way down. So when you heat it up, make sure that you don't heat until it sticks to the zip tie. There must still be some slack so that you can still move it around. So the antenna will look like that when it's finally done. I think that should be alright. So you won't get cut by the props. So basically, physically this is all set up because I don't want to put on the props now. Otherwise it's too dangerous. Just take them out. And all you need to do now is just to connect to Beta Flight, set out the modes, and that's it, and you're good to go. Okay, so let's now connect to Beta Flight. Oops, my USB is falling apart. It's okay. So I'm just recalibrating the accelerometer configuration. I'll make sure that you enable expert mode, save and reboot. I'm going to set up. It's moving the right way. Ports. The PPM is on the UART 3, receiver RX. So the receiver is PPM RX input. Configuration. I usually put motor stock. These are motors. You can just basically deactivate everything here, even the black box. No need for that. Tailsafe is to drop. It's fine. P.I.D tunings, I'm going to leave them at the stock Flight tuning. And this is a well balanced core anyway, so it's going to fly with any stock P.I.Ds. Check the receiver. I'm pretty sure I got it wrong there somewhere.
Oh yeah, that was the right switch. Throttle warning.
So this is usually the one of the problems with Flight. You see, it's not receiving anything here. It was doing it properly earlier. So let's go to ports. I think it's because of UR3. Save and reboot. Receiver. Okay, now let's troubleshoot this. Ports. Okay, let's do this again. Turn this off. Disconnect. Turn this on.
Oh yeah, that was the right switch. Throttle warning.
Okay, what I did there was just to reset, and you see everything goes haywire again. So go to mapping, Frsky, save, ports, enable UR3, save and reboot. Okay, so it must be TAER. So now it's fine. So usually when you do a Flight setup, sometimes you have this type of problem. So this is how you troubleshoot. Throttle here. Okay. You know what? That happened because that's the Flight sticks arming. So I better go and set up the arming mode first. And then go through all these settings, ports, setup, calibrate, config, save and reboot. if I remember correctly, the ball is moved 90 degree. Hang on, let me see. Yep. So we need to go to your degree, 90, see whether it works or not. Okay. You see the ball is pointing to the left hand side, so it should be negative 90. The reason why this happened was because I reset the settings for better flight. Look, now it's fine. So I need to recalibrate. Okay, that's fine now. Pause. Put motor stop. Oh yeah, just now when it was on, the motor starts running because I didn't put motor stop when it was reset. Disable. Drop. That's the stock P.I.D tunings for Lizard95 receiver. Just make sure that the pitch, roll, and yaw are 1500. So what you can do, you can use the trim buttons. So this is for the pitch. That's close enough.
Trim center.
It's close enough. Excuse me. The deadband is about, if you look at the numbers on the screen, it's fluctuating for about 1 to 2 numbers. So let's put the deadband at about 2. And that's fine. Always press save for the modes. Arm at range. So my arming is this switch, I think this one. So just drag the yellow portion to this side. Save. My mode switch is, hang on. Sorry about that, my arm switch is this one. My mode switch is this. Range horizon, auxiliary tool. Yep. So default is angle on arming to horizon. Yep. Save. I'm not sure whether this one is beeper or not. Let me try Austria. So this one doesn't have beeper, I don't need that one. Let's cancel that. So that's basically the setup that you need. So modes, save, no need. Oh yeah, just to make sure that the motors are spinning the correct way. Just click here, a little bit up. So they're supposed to go in. So this one, if you turn it this side, they're also supposed to go in inside. Yep, it's spinning correctly. Last thing I want to do is just to check the version number. FPV Flight SP Racing F3 3.0.1. I don't want to update this first. Maybe after I clone this for a while, then I'll update this to the latest one. So now we've got the antenna set up. So the last thing to do is to put on the props and test flight this. So we can do that in the next part of the video. So now I just want to show you the arming, whether it works. And let me connect this back to Backlight.
RSSI critical. Telemetry lost. Telemetry recovered.
Let me turn off the transmitter, see whether the Tailsafe works. So for this receiver, I cannot do failsafe on Backlight, so I need to do failsafe on the receiver itself. So what I need to do is just to connect and bind the transmitter and receiver, and then press the bind button for about 1 second, and that sets the failsafe. So I can show you that it's working now. So let me just turn this on.
Oh yeah, that was the right switch.
On this. And turn the transmitter off. So that's fail-safe. So everything now is set up and ready to go. So for the props, just make sure that you get the orientation correct. So they should be the top side going inwards when you do this, facing away from you. So I'll show you the other two that I'm going to put the props on. So this is the top side, and this should be pointing inwards. That top side inwards. And for the props, what you need to do is you need to push it down a bit and then screw it down the rest of the way. Until it reaches almost to the bottom, like that. And then you put your prop nuts on. So that's how you put the props on. And also with this quad at the bottom, you have these LED lights. So LED lights, the connections are exposed. So I put a little bit of liquid electrical tape over the exposed end, just to make them waterproof, so that when it lands on wet grass or anything, it doesn't short out. So you do that for all the 4 models. So the next thing, there are the foam laces that you need to put on all the 4 sides. So with the receiver, I put it on the side here, and then I heat shrink the top part where the zip ties are. So I make sure that it's heat shrink. I shrink it to just the right amount so that it can still pull a bit slack here, in case that you want to pull it out. With the antenna, I'm going to use the stock antenna, and to see how long it lasts. So if it breaks, then I'll change that to other type of antennas. So as for the wires behind the frame, I put a bit of zip tie just to make sure that it stays in place, and also put a small zip tie here to make sure that the antenna wires sits in place here, and I make sure that the props don't cut the zip tie. And for the batteries, basically what you need to think about is also the wires. So make sure that you tie these 2 wires together so that when you connect this, it remains somewhere on the top, so that it doesn't hang down the side, and it prevents it from getting cut by the props. And also, I usually put Velcro on the top of the quad here, so that the battery will stay in place when you strap it on. See? So you need to basically also strap the balance port in there so that it doesn't move around. And then you just leave the SD60 connector out so it can be pulled and connect. And with the prop nuts, it goes to the opposite direction of your props. So for the front, the black is on this side, silver is on this side, and then on the opposite side is silver, on the opposite side is black. So the last thing that I want to do is to test the camera with this G10. Need to turn the G10 on. Take the landscape off. Before I forget, there's two screws on the side of the camera. You can loosen it and then change the angle of the camera and then just tighten them up. I don't know how tight the screw can stay on. So make sure that after every flight you check all the screws again and make sure they're all tight. So let's check the camera. Yep, the camera is on F7, and so as you can see, it works. So no problem with the camera. So the pre-flight checks are all good, or even the LEDs are looking good. So the next thing to do, I'm going to do a short hover test, and I'm not going to fly, just very short, turn the props on, and maybe a bit of fail-safe test, and that's it. That will be the whole setup of this quad.
Oh yeah, that was the right switch.
Hi guys, so I want to show you the fail-safe with the props on. So I arm it. So that's the fail-safe.